Hello, I'm Kashi,
My name is Dash.
and we're going on an adventure
Through the rabbit hole.
We looked at good hair, evil hair, and all of this facial hair chart with the very funny quote at the bottom. But,
I forgot what the quote was. And
my, what a fine mustache you have, sir. All the better to twirl at you, my dear. That part cut out in the last recording. So
so even if you had watched the last episode, which you should go do if you haven't watched this one, if you haven't watched it yet, if you haven't watched this episode,
there's no net need to start any particular place.
I guess so.
You could or you couldn't. You know,
just give this guy more watch time.
I would appreciate that, but I'm just thinking, like, the episodes probably get better each one.
Yeah.
Ever so slowly.
so episode 4 is out yet, and especially if it's Christmas time.
Episode 4 is the Christmas special. So we talked a lot about what kind of facial hair villains have. But this next paragraph starts out with anti-hero. So I think that's a good place to look. An anti-hero, of course, can go either way, although they rarely have the wispy beards. Perma-stubble is popular for anti-heroic characters, as well as the generally...
Badonki.
I mean... I don't know, maybe I should just read...
What?
maybe I should just read it. These different tropes. You know, like the coat. That was one of the ones, the long coat. Perma-stubble is popular for anti-hero characters, as well as the generally badass. As a contrast to clean-shaven heroes, one pop culture extreme is to get incredibly elaborate patterns in a full beard. Again, this depends on if the anti-hero is the grungy, unkempt kind, or is going for the blade-like extravagance. So, anti-hero tends to have kind of a stubble. I don't know. Whenever I think stubble, I actually think of, like, Uncle Crow. But yeah, kind of like a cool sort of vibe, but like scruffy. I like how it says one popular extreme is to get incredibly elaborate patterns in a full beard, like that picture I showed you from Hunger Games. It's just such a crazy beard. I can't forget about it. Also, it was a funny meme.
I remember I once saw this picture, and it was a meme, and I was saying, this guy's beard looks like Spider-Man.
But there's a grudgy, unkempt kind, and it says a blade-like extravagance. It says, well, blade being capitalized. It must be the name of a thing that people will be like, you haven't seen Blade? No, we haven't. But I think we get the idea of extravagance as opposed to grungy, you know?
I don't know the definition of the word extravagance.
We should have a whole nother show that's just dictionary with Dash. Extravagance, a thing on which too much money has been spent, which has used up too many resources. Extravagances. Luxury, indulgence, comfort, treat, extra. They kind of tie together, but the one we're looking for is excessive elaborateness of style, speech, or action. The extravagance of the decor. Right? It
sounds like a weird thing to have for an anti-hero.
Luxurious. It is, but there's all kinds of heroes, all kinds of villains, and all kinds of anti-heroes.
You mean there's more to anti-heroes than
Shadow the Hedgehog? It's a new rule on this podcast that every time an anti-hero comes up, someone mentions Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Whether a woman's hairstyle is good or evil depends on when the show was filmed. I was saying it's all about like men's hairstyle so far because they're the ones who have facial hair. The good hairstyle of 2009, long, sexy, but not too smooth, would have been seen only on a villain like Cruella de Vil 50 years earlier. that is kind of a switch, you know. In contrast, the bad hairstyle of 2009, big, teased with floofy bangs, was the good hairstyle of 1985. The implication is that heroines are slaves of fashion, or villains are dowdy and out of date. I mean, slaves of fashion is kind of a negative way of putting it. I think the intention between these stereotypes of these areas was fashionable was more how they would have put it. But I don't know. See, also, there's let's list those. Oh, you see anything in there that?
It's not one to go to, but funny afro.
Afro. That's definitely a trope. Gosh dang, the thing with the animals, Madagascar. I've only ever seen like the first movie, but I've seen the ad for like the sequel or something so many times. Or singing some song about polka dot afro. It's kind of annoying. But it's just been pounded into my brain. And so that comes to mind when I hear funny afro. I don't know if those movies are good or not, but it seems like I don't know why I would have gotten a sequel. I think the penguins are funny.
Yeah.
They made a whole show out of that, and that's probably a good show. The penguins are the saving grace of that series. But
I sometimes watch this one guy he makes movie review video essays, and like he had the thing where, if I recall correctly, yeah, he was ranking every single animated DreamWorks film, and then when he got to Penguins of Madagascar, he said he also, well, somewhere on it he like mentioned that there was also this one Christmas short that he thought was amazing. He said, I'll get to where I would put that list on the list when I get it to that spot. And then he got to the end and was like talking about how, I forgot which movie it was, but I think it was one of the Bible movies. Was talking about how it was one of the best movies ever made. But it was like, but it doesn't compare to this one Christmas short from Penguins of Madagascar.
Well, now I think we need to go see the Christmas short. Not on here.
Yeah.
But if it's so good. But I noticed at the end of the list, good scars, evil scars.
Mm.
That's a whole other one that'd be great to dive into, but maybe not at the moment. But I think we get the idea of good hair, evil hair. Any further comments? I guess we can talk about the standpoint of us writing good hair, evil hair, right? I already mentioned last time, we both did. Not a lot of our characters have facial hair.
Mm-hmm.
In which case, difference between said facial hairs doesn't come up much. I don't think I really have any hair tendencies with heroes and villains in my stories at all. Not like that I can think of. I think they all have a general range of smooth to spiky, long to short anime hair. And I don't know, do you have any particular thoughts on
not like a lot, like some of the characters I create are more just ideas I have in my head that I haven't actually thought of a character design for.
Yeah, okay. But
however, most of the ones I do have like made and written out, they tend to have smooth hair.
Yeah. But see, facial hair is the most standard, most telling one. There's a whole chart here of facial hairs, right? But Other hair, it changes. It varies. There's no need to really consider it as far as evil or good for hairstyle when you're making a character design. So, you do you. You make your choices as design as you choose. And if you want to have a consistent way that heroes' hair is and villains' hair is, that is up to you. I think it'd be funny if someone... Oh my gosh. Okay. Someone needs to make, okay? Some kind of parody where the main hero, has just a crazy villain facial hair. And everybody just assumes they're a bad guy because of it, even though like the main hero. And that's like their biggest problem, is everyone sees their facial hair and thinks they're a bad guy. Someone needs to write this.
I feel like
I probably won't, but someone should.
I feel like that would also be good with a little subversion of good colors, evil colors, with red being the general good color in that, and blue being the general evil color.
I just had... Oh yeah, good colors, evil colors. Right. But that's more about the good colors, evil colors than the good hair, evil hair.
Yeah.
Even though it is the hair, it's the color.
It's just an addition to that idea.
Yeah. But here's an idea, right? I just thought of. What if it doesn't work? Because I don't know how many people are watching, right? Because we have to build up viewers. But how great would it be if we did like short story, or like not like maybe like or like page out of a story, like contest of some kind. Some kind of like writing project, some kind of like optional homework that could be like submitted, like compared to something, and like featured if it's really good, something like that. Not something too long, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would be pretty great. So if anybody does decide that they would like to submit an entry for today's prompt of good guy who has evil hair, you can submit it to kashimochibean.mailbag@gmail.com with specification on exactly what like crediting information of you want. Because I just, there might be some people who don't want their name said, and the other people are like, oh, well, say like this screen name or this YouTube name or something. People are like, oh no, say my real name, So like, it's important that they specify that so we know what to do.
Right.
Anyway, that is all of our time for good hair, evil hair. It's been quite a lot of time spent on it already. Do you have anything to add?
Not really, just let's do good scars, evil scars another time.
Yeah, sometime.
Not next week, however. Next week is the Fabled Christmas special. I think Fabled. Is Fabled the right word?
Well, it's... I mean...
Like
kind of. It's almost like hyperbole, but yeah. Reformed but not tamed is one we wanted to take a look at. Especially since Goran had an example we wanted to look for, and because the quote at the top
is My Little Pony.
Little brony here.
I feel like that word has a lot of negative connotation.
I don't know, maybe. Maybe that's how I meant it. All right.
But
read your quote.
All right. Discord may be reformed, but he's not that reformed. It's not
Spike the Dragon.
One. Yeah.
So Discord is the name of a character.
Yeah. I remember one time I was searching up Discord on Google, and the description said Discord is a social media platform and all this stuff, and then the images showed the My Little Pony character.
When it comes to characters turning from evil to good, you would assume that the character and personality have changed. This isn't always the case, and the change isn't always complete, and these characters still have the same ruthless attitude and behavior. This trope is when a character goes from evil to good, while still retaining the characteristics they had as a villain. There are plenty of reasons for why their moral and unpleasant behavior remains the same despite changing their alignment. 1. The reformed character may still harbor some form of resentment or disdain for the good guys, particularly the hero. This... I'm trying to think of, like, examples of this. I know I should have some, but... Yeah, the reformed character still having disdain for... Well, for the hero. It seems more like a comedic thing to me. But it could also be, like... if they're reformed and have that much disdain for the good guys, they're probably not part of the main group. Probably the anti-hero. Or they have disdain for just one of the good guys, not the rest of them, and they're having a hard time getting along within the main group. And that could lead to drama and or comedy.
I also kind of imagine this could probably happen if, like, they were forced to join the good guys. Like, they're like, hey, join us or we'll kill you or something like that.
This doesn't sound like a very heroic thing to say, but I get what you're saying. I think there are situations where, like, the character isn't really reformed, but they're situationally forced to work with the good guys for the time being.
I guess, like, the first thing that came to my mind when you said that, I guess kind of spoilers for Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, but like, I was thinking, like, that time when they both got, like, inside gluttony. I think that's what it's called. Right.
Yeah. No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Like, it was a very short period.
That is a good example.
Not for a reformed but not tamed kind of situation,
exactly.
But as a situation for
something that isn't reformed but not tamed, but they're still working together.
Yeah.
Kind of contrast. 2. They're still hung on the ways of villainy, and they were very sour grapes on joining the heroes. Perhaps they may have been a well-intentioned extremist who's now realized that their actions cause more harm than good, but they still hang on to their ruthless ways as long as it doesn't hurt others. Or maybe their evil powers have enlightened them to a lot, but they now agree to use it for the greater good instead of their self-serving reasons. Yeah. So I've seen this too, but I'm also blanking on examples. The villain joins the good side, but they like their methods.
Mm-hmm.
They like the ruthlessness, that their way of going about it. That's kind of villainous still, And let's see. 3. They may be just naturally mean due to some Freudian excuse. Did I pronounce that right? Freudian excuse, or other reason, and they will be an example of good is not nice for years to come. 4. They are simply all too aware that they can never be.
It's just good is not nice. That sounds very anti-hero-y.
It does. Yes. Yeah. 4. They are simply all too aware that they can never be a model of incorruptible pureness. I love how that's a trope. Incorruptible pureness. They'll still play dirty if it comes to that, which has a little bit of anti-hero vibes to it as well. They have changed their allegiance and goals without modifying their ruthless, hardcore mindset.
Isn't that just a general, that's what reformed but not tame is?
Yeah, that's pretty big. But you get the idea. And I think this is a good, kind of like a good trope to follow. I mean, for what, it can actually be pretty funny. But I just feel like often, a villain who's turning good is a villain who, like, the audience start to like, you know what I mean? And, like, if you can make them still working for good, but like keeping some of like the flawed attitude that endeared people to them. You know what I mean? Like we want characters to have flaws, and if that flaw is that they still have the same personality they had before, or people like them as a villain. You know what I mean? Like it's like you don't want to tame them too much. I mean, I know Zuko season 1 and season 3 are very different, but still, you get what I'm saying. Is that sometimes sometimes the character can only be reformed so much. So, how about we look at the example you were thinking of?
You see if it's there yet?
A big old list of tropes. Okay, so what are you thinking? Video games?
I guess we could start with video games.
You said you had a specific example.
Well, I'm not sure. It's just one. I'm not sure if it's there yet. That I just want to double check to see if it's there.
Let's see if it's there.
Yo, it's here. It's the one right here.
Deltarune. The Undertale.
Yeah.
Sequel?
Yeah. Last time we were here, I looked it up and I was like looking through it and didn't see it. But yes, they now have it. They now have Susie.
Oh, so Sonic the Hedgehog series started up. Various characters start off as enemies, but eventually turned aside. Yeah, Knuckles first fought as a hero antagonist. That's another trope we should look at some point.
I feel like we should make a list
to
of
to a grudging yet loyal friend. That actually does kind of fit. The whole kind of they have still a little grudgy, but Shadow pulls a heel face turn. So Amy convinces him to save the world, thus sacrificing himself to prevent this Sonic Adventure 2. Of course, Shadow sacrifices himself and then continues to keep going back because you can't get rid of Shadow. He's too good for that.
Yeah, he's. We need the anti-hero. I guess
you need Shadow.
we don't. Yeah, you don't. I don't think you need an anti-hero, but you need Shadow. And Shadow's an anti-hero, so technically you do need an anti-hero, but one specific anti-hero.
Yeah. There's... In recent years, Knuckles and Shadow's characters have both actually not been done as well. It's kind of sad. But, hopefully, there'll be a change in the new movie that's coming out! Which definitely has Knuckles. Probably not Shadow.
Yeah.
That was going to be saved for the third one. But next one, Tails and Knuckles. That is enough. You don't want to just go from just Sonic to now you have a bajillion characters.
Yeah.
I do wonder if they're gonna have Amy though. Maybe there's the after credit scene.
Or who knows? Maybe maybe Shadow will get the after credit scene.
Well. Didn't the first one actually have 2 after credit scenes like Marvel does? Right? Didn't they have wasn't Eggman?
I feel like
in the Mushroom World an after credit, wasn't that?
I don't think it was an after credit, but I think it was at the very end of the pre-credits, the first scene before the credits.
Are you sure? Are you sure they didn't do the soft credits? That. Full credits and then Tails the very end.
I'm pretty sure I remember it being blended into the I'm pretty sure I remember it being blended into the main movie.
Okay. So was the Tails part after all of the credits or just
I'm pretty sure
in the mid credit after credit scene?
I'm not entirely sure.
Huh. I don't know Star Fox at all, but I'm aware of the I've seen the character visually, Star Wolf. I think it's a lot of these classic games are just we need to have a version of the main character who's the villain.
Yeah. Except...
And then becomes a hero later. Well, anti-hero. But, for Reformed but Not Tamed, we can find so many examples in comic books and anime and manga. So many. I don't even know if we should try right now. We might have to, in fact, we've been going so long, I think we're going to have to suspend Knight Templar again. I think we're just going to have to, we should look at these examples and suspend Knight Templar yet again.
Alright.
To episode 5. Not episode 4, because that's the Christmas special!
Woo! Christmas! 50 minutes.
Yeah, this has been going way too long. So let's wrap this up. Anime, manga, Dragon Ball. Of course, I haven't seen Dragon Ball as I've said, but I am aware of Vegeta. And I've heard the name Piccolo. I don't know who Piccolo is. Sorry. At some point, I'm gonna have to watch Dragon Ball because I'm just gonna be like, I can't believe you haven't seen. You need to see. It took me long enough to start watching JoJo, and there's just I can only watch so much. Things are so long. Come on, if you don't want spoiler? Well, I mean, they have spoiler tags, but like, there's always times where like they don't quite properly fulfill spoiler tags. So you're watching the recorded video version. Just keep that in mind. Sendo Kaiba! Yeah, I know, Corn, you don't know Yu-Gi-Oh! But that is a bit of a favorite of me and my friends with watching the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. I actually didn't see many of like the later seasons. But that will have to wrap up this episode of
That's the new show name.
Hello, welcome back to Take You on an Adventure. Wrap up this episode of Through the Rabbit Hole. So, without further ado, thank you very much for watching. I'm Kashi, you're awesome. And until next time, see you later, crocodile.
In a while, alligator.